Welcome to the MSDW podcast. I'm Jason Gumpert, editor at msdynamicsworld.com. On this episode, I welcome Mac Osofsky, a marketing automation solution provider, GetResponse. GetResponse is the sponsor of this episode, and they've offered marketing automation solutions for over a decade. The company started with solutions for the small business sector, but now they serve the mid-market and large companies with their offering GetResponse Max. Mac has been with the company throughout their decade of growth and now leads the GetResponse Max product. The company has now entered into the Dynamics 365 space with a new integration with GetResponse Max. On this episode, we discuss the origins of that integration and the partnerships that the company has fostered to make it happen. Mac also shares his views on some of the design decisions that went into the company's D365 offering. The bidirectional nature of the data means that marketing and sales teams continue to face interesting challenges when it comes to improving their performance, both individually and together. We get into some of that, and we get into some of his observations about what maybe makes the Microsoft channel unique and where some of the new opportunities lie for the future. All right, Mac Osofsky, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for joining me today.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. And wanted to maybe begin by learning a little bit more about sort of your own role and sort of the history, the background of GetResponse and your entrance into the Microsoft Dynamics space and some of the new things that you're doing. Can you tell us a little more about yourself? I know you have a pretty long history with the company and where things are today.
I work for a company called GetResponse, which is one of the most experienced companies dealing with email marketing and marketing automation. And there's a very interesting story actually behind GetResponse. The company has been started in 1998 by Simon Grabowski. It was one of those wonder startups of that time. Simon has actually started up the company with only $200 in his pocket and grew it to a business that today is present in practically speaking 200 countries and can actually boast with 350,000 paying customers across the globe. So it's a very interesting story. He did that while at the age of 18 years old. So like the backbone of GetResponse is very interesting. We are a bootstrapped company. In the private hand. So not a very typical venture capital backed startup. And I've been with GetResponse for the last 11 years. So quite a trip for myself personally, mostly occupied with the marketing and the sales part of doing business. What I think is really interesting about GetResponse is our how we help businesses basically to scale their results. We are mostly present in the US and in the EU. And we help companies get more leads and send better messages, send better marketing communications to their own customers of their database. And we do it quite efficiently, both in the B2C sector.
All right, interesting. And as I understand it, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but the Microsoft channel and specifically the Dynamics 365 customer engagement CRM space is one area that's fairly new for the company, even though, as you explained, it has a long heritage. Almost, I'm thinking back 11 years. That was really still the early days of marketing automation. So really, a company that started in that probably that first wave of marketing automation as a real segment.
Yes, and what makes it really even more interesting is that we have started as a business that was purely speaking to, let's say, small and medium businesses. And this was our, let's say, DNA. That was the root of our business, to deliver a marketing tool for small companies, for these organizations that very often don't even have a marketing department. So it's very frequently the founder or the person that runs the business that is also doing marketing. But hey, a lot of things have evolved since then, right? And, moving from only one channel, and that used to be email marketing, has actually brought us to a place where we are today, where we offer the omni-channel capabilities to businesses of different sizes and different sorts. So we can deliver tools to, still companies with, 2 to 10 employees. And at the same time, we also work with some of the biggest brands in the industry with our GetResponse Max offering. And certainly that, let's say, introduction to that mid-market slash enterprise segment has also, put us against the challenge of delivering very easy to use and very efficient tool for communications for the B2B companies who are using one of the biggest CRM systems in the industry, which is, of course, Microsoft Dynamics, and at the same time delivering great value from it. So we have never wanted to enter the CRM space, but we also realized that the tools for communications, for marketing automation, and for email marketing that have been actually available to Microsoft Dynamics users were not ideal. Let's say in all of in many cases, I think that we have identified that there's a certain niche to deliver our DNA of being super useful and super enjoyable to use actually, and not making things too difficult to achieve really good results. And we wanted to deliver that value to Microsoft Dynamics users. Hence the whole idea to build a really strong partnership with Microsoft, and hence the idea to deliver that value through that integration.
One of the things that I always wonder about is after, the concept of digital marketing and marketing automation capabilities have now been around for a long time, but, you're meeting customers who use Microsoft Dynamics, probably partners as well in this space. What are some of your observations? What have you learned about how, people in this particular channel, what their views are, what their experiences have been with bringing sort of marketing capabilities together with sort of more traditional CRM, sales capabilities?
So I think that first of all, what needs to be said is that it's a very diversified group of companies, right? From manufacturing through heavy industry, through healthcare, finance. So I think that what I have learned through multiple meetings with these customers, also multiple workshops with the Microsoft team, is that this database of users is heavily diversified, and they have different objectives and they have different needs. But what I think is the common denominator for plenty of these companies, and I think many B2B businesses today, is that challenge of, and I know it sounds like a cliche, but still, it's been alive for so many years, and it still is. So it has to be stated. And this is the misalignment of the marketing and the sales department, right? It's a problem of different expectations. It's a problem of lack of accountability. It's a problem that sometimes can even escalate to the lack of trust between the two teams and between certain individuals in the company. So also learning on the experiences that we have had internally, because, GetResponse is quite a solid, big business. I mean, we generate leads for the sales team that we have in GetResponse, and our marketing team does it. We also been through numerous conversations, such as, like the leads that you generate are not actual sales qualified leads, they're marketing leads. On the other hand, the marketing team might have some trust issues, whether the sales team is following up with the leads on time, and if they're following up, the adequate amount of times. We wanted to address that challenge. I personally believe that the best way to address this challenge, and this is something that, I've also learned from plenty of these companies that you have mentioned, is that there is no other way to do it but through technology. Okay, so you need to build like an ecosystem that gives great transparency both to the sales team when it comes to what's going in marketing and what is the whole journey of the lead, but also for the marketing team, so that they can actually work in the CRM, see what the sales people are doing, and not be afraid, not be concerned with actually using the CRM, because it's not only a software for the sales team. So I think that this has been one of the biggest learnings, and like the main conclusion that basically arose from any of these conversations.
One of the, I guess, debates that I often hear when it comes to deploying marketing technology, especially in this space, given the different backgrounds and the different expertise that different Microsoft customers have, is whether to what kind of services they need and who's going to help give them those services, whether it's you as the vendor, the technology vendor, or a Microsoft partner. Have you had much experience yet sort of collaborating with partners or working directly with customers? Or I guess maybe the other way of asking is sort of, what is GetResponse's approach when it comes to sort of the services that go into a successful marketing automation solution deployment?
So I totally realized that there is a number of technical items and boxes that you need to check before you actually deploy and implement a marketing automation system. It's not only a matter of technology; it's also a matter of, I think, certain idea and a strategy behind it. Okay. One thing that has been dramatically helpful to us is that we didn't build the integration between Dynamics and GetResponse in-house. We did that through collaboration with one of the biggest MS Dynamics partners in Europe. And this is a company that helped us dramatically, first of all, to understand the needs, the problems, and the actual challenges of the companies that use Dynamics today. Because our partner has been implementing Dynamics CRM for years across some of the biggest telcos, some of the biggest FMCG companies. So when we sat down to it, we had a huge list of challenges, implementation issues, and pain points that this integration has to actually address. And when we actually right now move on and speak to plenty of these businesses and companies about the implementation, normally I gotta say that it's a fairly easy process. But I think that this process is fairly easy today and doesn't actually require any external consultants to make it work, because the way we've designed this system is that once you are up and running with our marketing automation software, this integration doesn't require any external, let's say IT consultation or any additional projects to actually deploy it, right? And that was the whole idea behind it. So from that perspective, I don't think that we are looking at a big amount of challenges, big amount of work that needs to be done. And let's be honest with you, Jason. We are living in the times, and this year has been very, I would say, radical in that case, where you got to be really super conscious when it comes to the budgets, and you got to be really super conscious, first of all, when it comes to the flexibility with which you do the business, right? I mean, multiple companies have rotated, pivoted this year. They have changed their offers. They have changed the way they do business. They have changed their addressable markets. So you need to minimize the turnaround time for that, right? And you cannot expect from the businesses today that they will spend months integrating their CRM with the new marketing automation platform. It has to be completed in a matter of days. So I think that this consciousness, this awareness was also one of the biggest, drivers behind the process here.
That is one thing I wonder about. Have you seen with the pandemic and the change in the business landscape that resulted from it, that have you heard from companies that maybe in the past said, we're good with where we are now. We collect business cards at conferences, we post print ads and let people call us, whatever the case may be, some other older models of sales and marketing. And now they're saying, okay, we need something to do our outreach, to make email and social and maybe other channels our primary target, and to automate every element that we can, and we need it this month. Have you had conversations like that? Have you seen people's perspectives change?
Multiple. It's a totally crazy and a totally amazing year. And I'm always saying that with some mixed feelings, because there are multiple businesses that have been affected. And basically, if you look at some of the verticals that we are looking at today, like the event industry or travel, travel and leisure. I mean, there are a lot of companies in these industries which are in a very unfortunate conditions, in which it's not a matter of creativity, it's not a matter of a smart manager. These are the circumstances in which your business is not being able to run in, let's say, 95%. And I'm feeling super super sorry for many of these companies, because I can tell how they feel. We have multiple companies in that verticals as well using GetResponse, and I know for a fact that no matter how hard you try, some of these businesses cannot just take everything online and pivot in a month or two. On the other hand, we've been seeing a massive spike of the incoming leads, the recurring revenue from some of the companies that we've been working with, a massive shift in the what I call the brick and click segment of companies that we used to work with, right? So the companies that are predominantly doing business offline, and they had a website, they had some sort of an online presence in the past that was, let's say, a support to their dominant offline business. And these companies have shifted their online revenues from anywhere from 1 to 2 to 3% last year to to something like 30 to 40%, which is absolutely crazy if you think about that. But the national lockdowns, situations in which shopping malls, became totally closed, the big disruptions in the logistic chains, they have absolutely forced and propelled this whole digital transformation. So I think that as many as there are unfortunate cases for plenty of the business owners this year, there has also been a massive shift and a massive digital transformation. So yeah, I mean, just to answer your question, we have absolutely seen a lot of movement, a lot of shifts here, and I think that at the end of the day, this is also something that has, let's say, encouraged plenty of the businesses to move strongly, and fully to the online model.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I definitely agree with you. You hate to see companies panic if they realize that they're playing catch up to get the elements in place that they need for the current environment. But at the same time, it's encouraging when companies can do it successfully if you can give them what they need to make that happen. I wanted to dive into a couple of points that I heard you talk about in a presentation you gave recently for our audience. One of them, and I guess it kind of dives into maybe a bit more about the capabilities of GetResponse Max to some extent. One of them was around sort of sales enablement. I thought I heard you touch on that, and that gets into, I think, things like perhaps sequencing or how to accelerate sales processes using marketing automation tools. Can you talk about your perspective on that?
Sure. I think that there are two things that you need to look at when you try to put yourself in the shoes of a salesperson in the B2B industry. And if you think about, well, first of all, the data which they need from the marketing team and the data which they would love to see in the CRM system so that their sales process, their reach out is just way smoother and easier, right? And one of the biggest part of of that sales enablement is certainly speaking all of the previous marketing journey that the lead has basically made and completed prior to reaching the salesperson, right? So what do you want to know is how they have interacted with all of the marketing communications that they have been receiving so far. Whether they've been ignoring all of the benchmark studies, reports, and pieces of content that the marketing team was trying to nurture them with. Perhaps they have been participating in some webinars. If so, what was the subject of these webinars, right? How well these webinars were actually targeted. So you want to get all of that, right? And you want to see it in a very clean, accessible way, ideally synchronized in real time with your lead card or with your contact card in Microsoft Dynamics. So when you're supposed to make a call to your prospect and try to get them on a demo, try to schedule a meeting with them, try to schedule an online call, you can use that data as a reference. And I think that this is the first great value that such a sales enablement tactic actually allows. And this is one big problem that that this strategy can actually solve. So salespeople have more data, and that data from the marketing team is being passed straight away to their CRM. The second problem, objective, that this strategy is actually fixing and looking at is the big automation of all of the communications that plenty of the salespeople are sending as the manual follow-up emails, right, to their prospects. We know that this will pose numerous issues for plenty of the companies, right? I mean, first of all, you rely a lot of manual work. Second of all, you will always run into issues where a certain person didn't follow up with a lead, they didn't have an actual idea what to send to the lead. The marketing team creates certain collateral, they invest time and resources into it, and salespeople ignore it. They just kind of send the regular just checking just kind of checking out emails to their prospects. So this sort of a strategy actually fixes that, right? Because it automates the communication that is being sent out to your leads. This communication is being designed, copywritten, and let's say executed by the marketing team. So it sends one same tone, same voice for all of the leads in the database. And at the end of the day, salespeople, they don't need to do it manually. So you create a process through which these leads are being warmed up or being nurtured, right? So there are two things here, right? The data for the salespeople plus the automation of the communication that the marketing team is sending out to the leads. So these are the two big values that you're looking at here.
When we're talking about sort of the integration and the various data that are available, sort of moving back and forth, Can you talk a little bit more about sort of, I don't know, the value of that data, or sort of how maybe it can be used in ways that companies might not think of it before they have the capability of sort of bringing that together? Are there things that surprise organizations about that?
I think yes. I think yes. And this is what plenty of the companies that I talk to are also voicing. So just to be very concrete about it, right? The integration between the CRM, MS Dynamics, and the marketing automation system sends the data, synchronizes the data two-way. So the most important part of the data that is being transferred are all of the interactions of your prospect leads with the marketing communications, and they are being sent in real time straight from GetResponse to MS Dynamics. Precisely, this is the let's say the last subject of a marketing newsletter that was sent to your prospect. That is some advanced activities within that communication. So you're going to know whether your prospect has actually opened that email. Have they clicked on any links? And if yes, on which links? Have they removed their marketing consent to receive any further communications? The fact whether their email address is valid or invalid. So all of that data is being sent in real time from GetResponse to MS Dynamics CRM. So salespeople interacting with these leads, they have the full picture of basically what has been going on with their lead. Same goes for scoring, right? So if you're running scoring in GetResponse, if you're assigning tags to your leads, if you are tracking your contacts on the website, that information and and these scoring points will also go straight from GetResponse to MS Dynamics CRM. You can also synchronize that information in the other way, so you can send your contacts from the CRM to the marketing automation platform. You can also trigger campaigns straight from the CRM without leaving its interface and send a campaign to a segment or a full list of your MS Dynamics leads and prospects. So, this is a great alignment. And for plenty of the companies, it solves a process that, might be very cumbersome and seem very difficult to do. But I strongly believe, and from what I see from the implementations which we've done so far, it's really fairly easy to achieve, right? Because you have the sales data and the marketing data finally under one dashboard, and this can be used by multiple team members. So this is a great bottom line for everybody.
Going back to a point you made earlier, you talked about how closely you worked with a Microsoft partner to help design this specific integration and sort of plan it. Can you talk a little bit about some of the observations you've had regarding what makes perhaps the Microsoft channel, Microsoft partners approach, or perhaps the Dynamics 365 customer approach unique or different compared to maybe some of the other channels, some of the other types of clients or partners that you work with?
Yes, absolutely. So, first of all, we have seen massive support from the Microsoft team when it comes to proper delivery of the integration to the market, when it comes to onboarding GetResponse team from IT to marketing, when it comes to who MS Dynamics customers are and what they need. And third of all, massive support from the Microsoft team when it comes to promoting that integration. This is something I haven't seen in the past with any other vendors. And I need to say that this is something super unique and very motivating to us as well to expand that integration further, right? And even keep on adding new features, keep on adding new benefits to our customers, because this basically makes it a very live, a very mutual partnership. There is also a massive value that we basically got from working with a trusted Microsoft partner. And that value is the knowledge and experience that they brought over from the multiple accounts in which they have basically implemented MS Dynamics. And there is a huge challenge that every single marketing automation company will face trying to integrate with a CRM system. And that challenge is a totally different language in which the marketing automation platforms speak versus the language in which the CRM systems speak. When you think about that, it sounds very easy because the marketing automation systems, they are mostly the platforms for communication. So the data which you store is typically saved in multiple lists or in multiple segments, which means that one person, meaning one email address, can be duplicated across multiple different communication lists. In the CRM, the email address is practically unique, right? So there's the big question: how do you merge the data, right? How do you merge all of the custom fields? How do you merge, all of the different marketing opt-ins and opt-outs, right? There are tens and tens of small decisions that you need to make while you project and design that integration. And Jason, there are no right or wrong answers to it. The only answer is what the customers expect. Okay. And, what is the way in which the customers would expect that system to work and to perform? And frankly speaking, we would not be able to do it without a trusted partner. We would not be able to basically achieve that level of experience without the company that we have worked with. So that support was absolutely massive and absolutely essential to me in that process.
When it comes to Dynamics 365 more broadly, I mean, the customer base and partners have really seen the technical architecture of it shift and evolve over the last few years. And it's getting to a point where I think it's fairly stable what direction it's taking, but it's something where there's a lot of possibility for the future. There's new sort of technical capabilities. The platform has matured. Things like, the Common Data Service and the Power Platform is something Microsoft's pushing very heavily. When you think about what GetResponse Max offers, or maybe how you deliver solutions in this channel, given all this, given the evolution that Microsoft is taking, are there areas that really excite you for the future in terms of the kinds of marketing technology that is coming next, or that maybe just arriving today?
Yeah, I mean, I'm super fascinated by all of the tools and add-ons and features and directions that Microsoft is taking when it comes to, its AI and machine learning capabilities. I think that both industries, both marketing automation and the CRM industry, could benefit a lot from that approach. And I know that, the right segmentation and the right knowledge about, what your prospects actually expect, who is the person that is most let's say prone to buy your product, who is the lead, that is most, let's say, prone to get on the sales demo. That is the knowledge that every single company needs. And I have seen multiple efforts and steps that Microsoft is taking recently in that direction. And I think this is really great, because the way I perceive that relationship is that the CRM system does the magic, especially with the AI components. And then solutions platforms such as GetResponse handle the communication, deliverability, analytics, and they basically feed that data back to the CRM system. So from our perspective, it's a great direction. And, I just hope that Microsoft will be continuing it.
All right. Excellent. Yeah, I certainly look forward to that as well. Well, Mac, thank you so much for taking the time today.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
This has been another episode of the MSDW podcast. My thanks once again to Mac Osofsky for joining me today. For more information on GetResponse Max, you can visit their website. That's getresponse.com/max/product/Microsoft-Dynamics. If you want to get in touch with me, you can reach me by email, jgumpert@msdynamicsworld.com. You can also find us on LinkedIn and Twitter. Until next time, this is MS Dynamics World, signing off.